Hello friends, welcome to my channel CHEETO Club. In the heart of Beijing's ancient streets, nestled between a dilapidated temple and a bustling marketplace, stood a small, unassuming Chinese restaurant. The sign above the door read Golden Wok, and the aroma of sizzling meat and steaming vegetables wafted out into the chilly evening air, enticing passers-by to enter. The restaurant's proprietor, Old Master Wang, had spent decades perfecting his craft, learning the intricacies of traditional Chinese cuisine from his father and grandfather before him. His dishes were renowned for their bold flavors and delicate balance of textures, drawing in customers from all walks of life. However, behind the restaurant's humble facade, a dark history lurked. It was said that Old Master Wang had made a pact with a malevolent spirit, trading his soul for the secrets of the culinary arts. As the years passed, the restaurant's success grew, but so did the strange occurrences. Customers would report finding strange symbols etched into the walls, and the sound of whispers seemed to emanate from the kitchen itself. Some even claimed to have seen the ghostly apparition of a young woman, her face twisted in a silent scream, darting between the tables. At first, Old Master Wang dismissed the rumors as mere superstition, but as the events escalated, he began to suspect that something was amiss. One fateful evening, as he was preparing for the dinner rush, he stumbled upon an ancient cookbook hidden deep within the restaurant's storage room. The cover was bound in black leather, adorned with strange symbols that seemed to shift and writhe in the dim light. As Old Master Wang opened the book, a musty smell wafted out, and he felt an icy chill run down his spine. The pages were filled with recipes, but they were unlike any he had ever seen before. The dishes described within were twisted and grotesque, featuring ingredients that seemed to defy the laws of nature. Old Master Wang's eyes widened as he read the recipes, his mind reeling with the implications. It was then that he realized the horrifying truth. The malevolent spirit he had made a pact with was not just a simple entity, but a harbinger of an ancient and malevolent force. As the night wore on, Old Master Wang became increasingly unhinged. He began to see visions of the young woman, her ghostly form flitting about the kitchen, beckoning him to join her in the depths of the underworld. The symbols on the walls seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, and the whispers grew louder, more urgent. In a desperate bid to rid himself of the curse, Old Master Wang turned to the ancient cookbook, hoping to find a recipe that would banish the evil spirit back to the depths of hell. But as he delved deeper into the book, he realized that the recipes were not meant to be used for good, but for evil. The dishes described within were not just twisted and grotesque, but they seemed to hold a dark and malevolent power. Old Master Wang's eyes grew wide with terror as he realized that he had unleashed a horror beyond his wildest imagination. As the clock struck midnight, the restaurant's doors burst open, and a chill wind swept through the dining area. The customers, who had been enjoying their meals just moments before, were now frozen in terror, their eyes fixed on the kitchen. Old Master Wang, his eyes wild with fear, stood at the center of the kitchen, the ancient cookbook clutched in his hands. The symbols on the walls pulsed with an otherworldly energy, and the whispers grew to a deafening crescendo. And then, in an instant, everything went black. The next morning, the police found the restaurant in shambles. The doors were torn from their hinges, and the windows were shattered. The kitchen was a scene of utter chaos, with pots and pans scattered everywhere. But it was the sight of Old Master Wang that would haunt the officers for the rest of their lives. He was found in the center of the kitchen, his eyes frozen in a permanent scream, the ancient cookbook still clutched in his hands. The restaurant was never reopened, and the building was left to stand as a testament to the horrors that had occurred within its walls. The locals whispered of the cursed wok, said to be hidden deep within the kitchen, waiting for its next victim. And as for Old Master Wang, his soul was said to be trapped within the ancient cookbook, forever doomed to cook for the malevolent spirit that had driven him to madness. The story of the Golden Wok serves as a cautionary tale, reminding us that some secrets are better left unspoken, and that the price of success can sometimes be too terrible to bear. But the true horror of the Golden Wok lies not in the cursed cookbook or the malevolent spirit, but in the darkest recesses of the human heart. For in the end, it was not the supernatural forces that destroyed Old Master Wang, but his own insatiable ambition and desire for power. As the years passed, the legend of the Golden Wok grew, and people whispered of the cursed restaurant in hushed tones. But there were those who were drawn to the darkness, who sought to uncover the secrets of the ancient cookbook and wield its power for themselves. One such individual was a young chef named Lee. He had heard the stories of the Golden Wok, but he did not believe them. He was convinced that the key to unlocking the secrets of the ancient cookbook lay within the restaurant itself, and so he set out to explore the abandoned building. As Lee made his way through the dusty, cobweb-filled halls, he stumbled upon the kitchen. It was just as the police had left it. The pots and pans scattered everywhere. The ancient cookbook still clutched in Old Master Wang's frozen hands. Lee approached the cookbook cautiously, feeling a sense of trepidation wash over him. But as he opened the cover, he was drawn in by the secrets that lay within. The recipes were unlike anything he had ever seen before, and he became obsessed with unlocking their secrets. As Lee delved deeper into the cookbook, he began to experience strange and terrifying occurrences. He would hear whispers in the dead of night, and the symbols on the walls seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy. But Lee was undeterred. He was convinced that the power of the ancient cookbook was within his grasp, and he was willing to risk everything to unlock its secrets. And so, Lee continued to cook, using the recipes from the ancient cookbook to create dishes that were both exquisite and terrifying. He became a sensation in the culinary world, with people coming from all over to taste his creations. But as Lee's fame grew, so did the darkness within him. He became increasingly obsessed with the power of the ancient cookbook, and he began to use its secrets for his own gain. And then, one fateful night, Lee disappeared. His restaurant was found in shambles, the kitchen destroyed, and the ancient cookbook nowhere to be found. Some say that Lee was consumed by the very power he had sought to wield, that he was dragged down into the depths of hell by the malevolent spirit that had driven Old Master Wang to madness. Others claim that Lee is still out there, using the secrets of the ancient cookbook to manipulate and control those around him. But one thing is certain: the curse of the Golden Wok lives on, a cautionary tale about the dangers of ambition and the power of the unknown. The story of the Golden Wok serves as a reminder that some secrets are better left unspoken, and that the price of success can sometimes be too terrible to bear. And so, The next time you sit down to enjoy a meal, remember the curse of the Golden Wok and the terrible price that was paid for the secrets of the ancient cookbook. Years went by, and the legend of the Golden Wok continued to spread. People whispered about the cursed restaurant, the haunted cookbook, and the chefs who had lost their souls to the darkness. But there were those who did not believe in the curse. They saw the Golden Wok as a mere myth, a story created to entertain and scare. One such person was a young and ambitious food critic named Sophia. Sophia had heard the stories about the Golden Wok, but she was not convinced. She decided to investigate the restaurant to uncover the truth behind the legend. As she approached the old building, she felt a chill run down her spine. The windows were boarded up, and the door was covered in cobwebs. But Sophia was not deterred. She pushed open the door and stepped inside. The air inside the restaurant was thick with dust and the smell of decay. Sophia coughed, covering her mouth with her hand. As she looked around, she saw that the restaurant was just as it had been left. The tables were still set, the chairs were still upright, and the kitchen was still intact. Sophia's eyes were drawn to the kitchen, where she saw the old wok still hanging over the stove. She felt a shiver run down her spine as she approached the wok. It was then that she saw the cookbook, lying open on the counter. The pages were yellowed and cracked, but the recipes were still legible. Sophia's eyes widened as she read through the pages. The recipes were unlike anything she had ever seen before. They called for ingredients that were rare and exotic, and the instructions were cryptic and ominous. As Sophia read through the cookbook, she began to feel a creeping sense of dread. She realized that the stories about the Golden Wok were true. The restaurant was cursed, and the cookbook was the source of the curse. Sophia tried to leave, but she found that she was unable to move. The pages of the cookbook seemed to be turning on their own, revealing new and terrifying recipes. Sophia's mind was filled with visions of the chefs who had come before her, their souls trapped in the cookbook, forever doomed to cook for the darkness. And then, Sophia heard the voice. It was low and menacing, and it seemed to come from all around her. "Welcome to the Golden Wok," the voice said. "You will never leave." As the voice faded away, Sophia felt herself being pulled towards the wok. She tried to resist, but it was too late. She was sucked into the wok, and everything went black. The next morning, the police found Sophia's car parked outside the Golden Wok. But she was never seen again. The restaurant remained abandoned, a testament to the curse that lay within. And the cookbook? It was never found. Some say that it is still in the Golden Wok, waiting for its next victim. Others claim that it was destroyed, its evil power broken. But one thing is certain: the curse of the Golden Wok will never be forgotten. The story of the Golden Wok serves as a reminder that some secrets are better left unspoken, and that the price of curiosity can be too terrible to bear. So the next time you hear a strange noise in the kitchen, or you see a recipe that seems too good to be true, remember the Golden Wok and the terrible curse that lies within. Many years went by, and the legend of the Golden Wok continued to spread. People whispered about the cursed restaurant, the haunted cookbook, and the chefs who had lost their souls to the darkness. One stormy night, a young chef named Alex stumbled upon the Golden Wok while seeking refuge from the rain. As he approached the entrance, He felt a sudden chill run down his spine. Despite his reservations, he pushed open the door and stepped inside. The interior was just as Sophia had left it. The table still set, the chairs still upright, and the kitchen still intact. Alex's eyes were drawn to the old wok, still hanging over the stove. He felt a shiver run down his spine as he approached the wok. As he examined the wok, Alex noticed something strange. The metal seemed to be breathing. He stepped back, his heart racing, and that's when he saw it. The cookbook, lying open on the counter. The pages were still yellowed and cracked, but the recipes seemed to be changing? Alex's eyes widened as he read through the pages. The recipes were no longer just for food, but for dark and sinister rituals. Suddenly, the lights in the restaurant began to flicker, and the air grew colder. Alex knew he had to get out, but as he turned to leave, he felt a hand on his shoulder. It was Sophia, or at least what was left of her. Her eyes were black as coal, and her skin was pale and decaying. "Welcome to the Golden Wok," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "You'll never leave." Alex tried to run, but Sophia's grip was too strong. She dragged him back into the kitchen, where the old wok seemed to be waiting for him. As Alex watched in horror, Sophia began to cook, the ingredients and utensils moving on their own. The rituals, the recipes, the curse. It all became clear to Alex. The Golden Wok was not just a restaurant, but a portal to a dark and ancient world. And Sophia, poor Sophia, was just a vessel for the evil that lurked within. As the night wore on, Alex was forced to participate in the dark rituals, the cookbook guiding him through the steps. He felt his soul being pulled apart, his sanity unraveling thread by thread. And when the storm finally passed, Alex was gone. The Golden Wok was left standing, waiting for its next victim. The curse continued, a never-ending cycle of horror and madness. The legend of the Golden Wok spread far and wide, a cautionary tale about the dangers of curiosity and the power of darkness. But there were those who did not believe, who thought the story was just a mere myth. And so, the Golden Wok remains, waiting for its next victim, its next soul to claim. The curse will continue until someone brave enough dares to confront the evil that lurks within. Years went by, and the legend of the Golden Wok continued to spread. Many brave souls attempted to explore the abandoned restaurant, but none returned. The locals avoided the place, whispering tales of the cursed cookbook and the evil that lurked within. One day, a group of paranormal investigators decided to explore the Golden Wok. They were equipped with state-of-the-art ghost hunting gear and a determination to uncover the truth behind the legend. As they entered the restaurant, they were immediately struck by the eerie atmosphere. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and the shadows seemed to move of their own accord. The team began to set up their equipment, hoping to capture some evidence of the paranormal activity. But as they worked, they started to feel a creeping sense of dread. One of the investigators, a young woman named Sarah, began to feel an intense connection to the restaurant. She felt as though she had been there before, although she knew that was impossible. As the night wore on, the team started to experience strange occurrences. Equipment would malfunction, and strange noises could be heard coming from the kitchen. Sarah began to feel an overwhelming sense of unease. She felt as though something was watching her, waiting for her to make a wrong move. And then she saw it. The cookbook, lying open on the counter. The pages were turning on their own, revealing recipes that seemed to shift and writhe like living things. Sarah felt a scream building in her throat as she realized the truth. The Golden Wok was not just a haunted restaurant, it was a portal to a dark and ancient world. As the team watched in horror, Sarah was drawn into the kitchen, the cookbook seeming to exert some kind of malign influence over her. And then she was gone. The team searched for Sarah, but she was nowhere to be found. It was as though she had vanished into thin air. As they stumbled out of the restaurant, they realized that the curse of the Golden Wok was real. The restaurant was a doorway to a dark and malevolent world, and those who entered would never return. The Golden Wok remained standing, a monolith to the horrors that lay within. And the locals whispered of the cursed cookbook, the evil that lurked within its pages, waiting for its next victim.